Have you ever spent ages applying your makeup in the morning and then come home later that day to see raccoon eyes? Leandra Rivera is the owner and head artist, Makeup by Lay. She joins us with tips to make your makeup last throughout the day. I always, never fail, I look in the mirror in my rear view and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like melting off my face.
Yes.
So how can we make it last?
Well, I always get clients asking me, what do I do after foundation? A lot of the times, just throughout the day, like you mentioned, things will move and smudge, and you want to try to avoid that. So this is just a basic liquid foundation. Most people will go to the drugstore and get something simple like this. But once you apply that base, you really want to focus on setting that makeup with a powder. So once you apply the foundation, you can dust with a angled feathered brush. Kind of lightly dust it all over the face. You don't want to apply too much, especially in these warmer months, because you really want the skin to be able to breathe. So usually what I suggest is taking the feathered brush and fan brush, kind of dusting it around the face. And then in those areas that you tend to maybe sweat a little more or crease a little more.
Like your T-zone?
Yes, your T-zone under the eyes, the bridge of the nose, right in the 11s in between your eyebrows. Those are the places where you really want to press that powder into the skin. So what you would want to do is push one of these wedged sponges, and you take that and you really get that concentrated on the tip of the sponge, and you're going to want to push it right underneath the eye. I'm just showing on the hand, demonstrating on the hand, but you want it to be concentrated right underneath the eye, and that's going to help avoid creasing. It also creates a barrier on the skin, so when you do apply your eyeshadow or your shimmery shadows, if you do have any fallout, once you're done, you dust that excess and it'll keep it nice and clean and fresh for you.
Oh, but you want to make sure, you said you want it concentrated, but you don't want to look like you have like white dots under, so you want to blend?
Well, yeah, eventually you're going to want to dust all that excess off, but I call it baking. It somewhat settles into the skin, mixes with your natural oils, and then once you remove that excess, it's perfectly melded and mixed into the skin, and that will really avoid the creasing. Wow,
especially I find right under the eye, especially in the summertime.
Yes.
That's where it starts to really kind of, you get the raccoon eyes.
Yes.
So that'll prevent the raccoon eyes.
That will definitely prevent that. However, when you do apply your foundation, you want to make sure everything is evenly blended, because it is a setting powder, so it will set your mistakes as well. So you want to make sure, if you do get into the highlighting and contouring, especially with the different tones and pigments, you really want to make sure everything is blended, whether it's with a beauty blender or one of a wedge wet. You could blend it and make sure it's really well blended, then you set. Now once you set with the powder, that usually is really good to have lasting power throughout the day. They come in different shades. There's the fair, the white that you could use that's translucent, so it's not going to show up on camera. However, if it is very heavily packed, it will show up, so you want to make sure you dust that excess off. Now once you set with the powder, then you could go over to a spray. Now the sprays come in different variations. You can get the matte finish, which will give you a nice tone porcelain skin.
Like clean, no shine or anything.
No shine. And a lot of people tend to like that, especially if they have oily skin, because they're trying to avoid the oil, so they like that matte finish. Now they also have the dewy foundation, I'm sorry, the setting spray, that helps give that natural, just clean, fresh look on the skin, and it doesn't look as mattified.
Okay, so it gives it more of like a glow, a little dewy shimmer, shine to it.
Yes.
Okay, so there's different options. That's setting spray. But you want to make sure that you set with powder before you use setting spray. Would you use both, or would you just use?
Well, yes, you'd want to set with the powder first, especially if you know it's going to be a long day. You know you're going to be doing a lot of moving and running around. This actually is started with theatrical makeup. So this was meant to be under hot lights, running around. I mean, Cirque du Soleil and things like that. So that's what that's made for.
Right, and if they can be flipping and doing crazy things with that, and it stays on their face, you know it's going to work for you on vacation.
Most definitely. So it really helps to set with the powder, then set with the spray, and you could kind of pick and choose what look you're going for.
Right, and see at the end of the day, look in the mirror and see if you have raccoon eyes. If you don't, well then, hey, Leandra, you're changing people's lives.
Thank you.
Wonderful on this Makeover Monday. I'm going to have to try that tip where I put the white there.